I've covered plenty of cases on this channel that went cold for years, sometimes decades before being solved. These cases end in all sorts of different outcomes. Unfortunately, today's case didn't end the way anyone involved probably wanted it to. Let's talk about Amanda Slaughter. Amanda Gail Slaughter was born on August 13th, 1976, to Brenda and Keith Slaughter. She had a brother, Michael Keith Jr., but I don't know if he was older or younger. I went back and forth on what to call Amanda during this video. She's called Amanda on places like the Charlie Project, which tend to list missing persons by their full names, but most of her loved ones seem to know her as Mandy, so that's what I will call her here. In her early teens, Mandy lived with her family in Orangefield, Texas, about 100 miles east of Houston. She seemed to be pretty boy crazy, always getting crushes on new guys and talking to them on the phone for hours at a time. In one incident, her mom cut their phone cord and Mandy spliced it back together, which is actually kind of impressive. I don't know if she did it with tape or something more permanent. In 1990 or 1991, Mandy, who was around 13 or 14 at the time, met 24-year-old John Fouts. The pair met through a mutual friend named Bobby Nichols. Despite their age difference, Mandy and John soon began a relationship. I don't know that her family knew about this, and I can't imagine they would have been happy about it if they did. On April 28, 1991, John and Bobby wanted to leave town, and John insisted they bring 14-year-old Mandy along with them. They picked her up, and she never returned home. The three lived in San Marcos, Texas for a month, then moved to Fort Worth. During this period, Mandy's journals revealed mixed feelings about the situation. Sometimes she wanted to leave and go back home, other times she wanted to stay. She said she missed her parents, but was afraid she'd be sent to a juvenile center if she went back home. She and John fought quite a bit during this time. Bobby got tired of it and left on June 13th. That same month, Mandy met John's sister, Ruth. She introduced herself as Amanda Wells, said she was 17, and claimed her parents had died in a car crash and she had been raised by her grandmother who had also recently died. At some point, Mandy took John's last name and referred to him as her husband, though it's not clear if they were ever legally married. On May 17, 1992, Mandy gave birth to the couple's daughter, Meredith Lee, who I've also seen called Mary. By this time, they were living in Springfield, Missouri, and John was working as a plumber. John's boss, Gloria Pitzenbarger, said he was a gentleman and that customers really liked him, but she often found herself caught in the middle of John and Mandy's many fights. On the morning of August 19, 1992, Gloria couldn't get in touch with John, and he had to work that morning. She went to the couple's trailer to see what was going on. Mandy answered the door, apparently having turned off John's alarm. She told Gloria, rather rudely, to leave. This was the last time anyone would see Mandy alive. Later that day, John told Gloria that Mandy had left him and was on her way to Minnesota. The next day, Gloria returned to the trailer and smelled something strange. Having previously been in the medical field, she recognized the smell immediately and called the police. Mandy's body was found the next day in a 55-gallon drum under her trailer. She was 17, though everyone who knew her in Springfield thought she was 21. By this time, John's apprentice had also contacted police and claimed John had asked him to help hide a body. John Fouts was charged with second-degree murder and went on trial in the spring of 1994. During the trial, the volatile nature of the couple's relationship came out, with accounts of reciprocal physical and verbal abuse. John tried to claim self-defense in Mandy's death, but the medical examiner gave evidence to the contrary. The medical examiner also said something during the trial that I found interesting enough to share. I'm not saying that Mandy Fouts was a saint. She obviously was not. We've heard the stories. But nowhere in the jury instructions do you find that you can kill your wife because she's a bitch. John was convicted and sentenced to 15 years in prison. His sentence was later overturned on the basis that the jury should have also been able to consider voluntary manslaughter. But in 1997, he pled guilty to second-degree murder and was once again sentenced to 15 years in prison. He was released in 2005, eventually remarried, and as of 2012 was reportedly living in Idaho. John and Mandy's daughter Meredith was raised by John's mother, her grandmother. As a child, she believed her grandmother was actually her mother, but her sister, actually her aunt, told her the truth when she was 16, around 2008. In 2009, John's mother died. While going through her grandmother's things, Meredith found a safe with a diary inside. The diary belonged to one Amanda Slaughter and gave the names of her parents and brother. Meredith was confused. She knew her mother's name was Amanda, but knew nothing about an Amanda Slaughter. She and a coworker searched the name and found that Amanda Slaughter was a missing person. Her parents had been looking for her since she left home in 1991, having no idea where she was or what had happened. They'd put up missing persons posters and had never even changed their home phone number for all these years, just in case. Meredith took the diaries to the police. A DNA test was ordered that compared her DNA to Brenda Slaughter's. They were a match, meaning Mandy Fouts, who had been killed in 1992, was actually the missing Amanda Slaughter. In 2012, over 20 years after she was reported missing, Mandy's parents finally found out what happened to her. So that's all I have for you today on Amanda Slaughter, or Mandy Fouts. There hasn't been much coverage of this case, but there was a really good write-up in the Beaumont Enterprise that I got a lot of my information from. As always, a link to that article, along with all my other sources, can be found in the blog entry in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.